Hey guys, welcome back to my small engine repair channel. Today I want to show you the top 5 reasons why lawn tractors that are not running or don't run properly come in my shop after they've been stored for the whole winter. And all the issues I'm going to show you in the video today are all things that the average homeowner will be able to fix himself. So I'm going to get right into the video. The number one reason why lawn tractors come in my shop that won't start or run is because of a dead battery. So usually you'll find the battery behind the engine or under the seat. In today's machine though, it's under the hood. So these little batteries here, from my experience, they only last 2 to 3 years at the most. Years ago, they would last a lot longer, but nowadays the quality might be cheaper. So don't expect too much out of your small battery. So if you've put your lawn tractor away with the battery inside of it and it gets really cold here in Canada, I'll use Canada as an example because we have cold winters, more than likely when you go to start your machine, the battery will be dead. So what you need to do in that case is charge up the battery, see how the battery will be after you charge it. And if it still won't hold a charge after you have charged it, just replace the battery. And if you go to start your tractor and all you hear is a clicking noise, that is definitely a symptom of a bad battery as well sometimes. Now, if your battery is not bad, it shows that it has a good charge. What you might have to clean are the battery terminals. So if these terminals are corroded, they're not making a good connection, your engine will not even turn over, or you might just hear a clicking noise. And a good way to clean your terminals is to actually undo them from the battery and use a wire brush so that you get all the corrosion off and then just put it back on. And you would also make sure that the wire that goes to the starter and the solenoid, that it is in good condition and not corroded as well. Now, the second most common reason why machines come in the shop here that won't run after they've been stored is because of damage caused by rodents. And you've seen some of my videos in the past where I've shown damage caused by rodents, mice getting in the engine and chewing the wires. So this is quite common here. We do have cold winters here, and the mice especially, they seem to tend to want to get under the engine shrouds here, make nests. They will actually chew the spark plug wires right off the coils, and then you'll end up with no spark at the plugs. Sometimes the wires will short because they've been exposed, and they might even cause the main fuse on the tractor to blow. So if you have damage caused by rodents, always check the fuse here to make sure it's still good. And it's not only wires that the mice will chew, they will actually chew the fuel lines and different things like that. So always keep an eye on that. What I do recommend is when you put it away, put a few mothballs on top here or scented dryer sheets. It seems to want to keep the mice away from your equipment if you do that. And you could also put some on the ground as well where you actually store your machine. So another very, very common reason why lawn tractors come in the shop after storage is because of bad gas. People might have put the machine away without putting fuel stabilizer or draining the gas or even having a fuel shutoff valve between the carburetor and the tank to run it dry. Now, this won't happen to everybody, even if you just put it away without doing any of these steps, but it all depends on the gas you had in the machine when you put it away, and it also depends on the storage conditions that you have stored your tractor the whole winter. So I've had people store their machines, do absolutely nothing to them, and they started. Then I've had other people who took some steps and they sometimes had issues. So it's kind of hit and miss. But again, this is a very, very common issue why machines come in the shop that won't run properly after storage. So what I do recommend to people is always use premium gas. And if you store your machine with gas in it, put some kind of additive in it or start it up every month or so to keep the fuel flowing so it doesn't clog up your carburetor. So basically what I recommend to people is to install a fuel shutoff valve right here before the filter, and then in the fall turn it off and run the machine till it dies so it burns what's left in the carburetor. And I've got a carburetor here that came off of a pressure washer. This machine was put away last summer, in the middle of the summer when they weren't using it anymore. And this is what the carburetor looks like now. It's super dirty and gummy, and it actually smells like turpentine. So this can happen very quickly in your carburetor, especially if you use the cheapest gas that's out there. And usually if your carburetor is this bad, it's cheaper to just replace the whole carburetor instead of trying to clean it. So again, you can incur a quite expensive expense if your carburetor ends up being like this, especially on a lawn tractor. Now, the next reason I often see in my shop here why a tractor won't start after storage is actually the fuel filter. So your fuel filter will be located between the tank and the carburetor. On this one here, it's right beside the oil filter here. This is a new filter on this machine here, but I have seen tractors with cheap filters. They looked clean, but the fuel did not want to go through the filter. And I have to admit, I got stumped a few times by bad fuel filters, even though they look clean. And then when I put a new one, the fuel was flowing freely through the filter. It's common, but not super common. It all depends on the make or how cheap the filter was when you put it on. But it's something you want to check. So if the fuel's not flowing or your tractor only runs on the choke, just replace the filter as a maintenance thing, because it could end up just being that. You don't want to end up taking your whole carburetor apart, cleaning it, and then just to realize that it won't run any better. So usually what I do to make sure that the filter is good is I just disconnect the fuel line right here, and then I tip the filter to see if the gas will come out. Also, another way, which is probably better, and I do this as well, is I'll disconnect the fuel line at this end of the fuel pump here, because that's where it's going to the carb. And what I'll do is turn over the engine to make sure that fuel is coming out of the fuel pump. I would say that this is the best way to make sure that the fuel is flowing through your fuel filter. Now, the final most common reason in the video today that I'll tell you about is actually having a plugged air filter caused by rodents again. So sometimes they will nest right in here, and they might actually chew the filter a bit, but they will build a nest, so they will actually plug up the filter. Some people have brought in machines, the air filter was like super plugged with a nest, and the machine was running like it was on choke all the time because it couldn't really breathe. And sometimes there'll even be some urine on the filter, so it's a bit gross. And if you run across that, just make sure to wear like a facial mask or some gloves, because sometimes the mice can have disease and you don't really want to catch those diseases, so just protect yourself. And also, if your machine still runs but you notice it's burning a lot of gas, just check the air filter again. So those are the most common reasons, guys, why lawn tractors come in the shop after being stored for the winter. I'm sure I forgot some reasons why, but again, I just wanted to highlight the most common reasons why they come in the shop. Now, if you have bigger issues than what I showed in the video, it's probably better that you take it to a qualified mechanic. But start with all the issues I showed you in the video today, and it's probably all it's going to be. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on social media. Have a great day.